guys, welcome back to our vegan kitchen. I've got a heavily requested video today for my pizza crust.
Yum.
Alright, this is a long time in the making, getting it down to this specific recipe. A lot of trial and error, but I've got a winner for you today. And I know you want to know right away what the secret ingredient was. If you watch our vlogs, I've been teasing it. So the secret ingredient is malt powder.
Ooh.
I originally bought this malt powder when I decided that I wanted to make my own bagels. And everybody said, oh, get malt powder. Okay. And then I didn't make bagels after that, and I had this malt powder. And I noticed that they put it in pizza dough too. So I said, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it in pizza dough. And right after I did, that's when everybody started saying how good my pizza dough was. So I'm going to share with you my pizza dough recipe today. And it's a little bit moving parts, you know what I mean? Because the way that I cook, I don't usually use any recipes. I just, even for baking.
You feel it out.
I feel it out. And especially with bread, you really have to be able to feel it out because of the humidity, because of the weather, because of is your flour, you know, what kind of flour are you using? Are you using bread flour, all-purpose flour? All those things affect it a lot, more than you would think. So I'm just going to show you my way, or the highway, of doing my pizza crust. So I start off with a bread flour. You don't have to use a bread flour. You can use an all-purpose flour. I really like the high gluten content in the bread flour because it gives a lot of extra protein in there. It gives extra gluten. Gluten equals protein. It's in there. I can't eat this anymore because I gave up gluten, but I'm making it for my family tonight, and they're going to enjoy the hell out of it.
I'm very sad that you can't eat this.
I know. Oh well, it's just my punishment. What can I say?
What did you do?
I don't know. I just live, that's all. So the way I usually do it is I do 3 heaping cups of the flour. Everything about this is wrong, but it's so right. You know how they tell you to measure the flour and spoon it into the cup, and I just do 3 heaping cups. You're going to adjust the water so it's not all that important. It'll be okay. Don't worry. I promise. We got our flour in here. The next star of the show is yeast. This is what's going to give us our air bubbles in there. It's going to make it fluffy. I use 1 tablespoon of bulk yeast, which is just slightly more than a packet of the active dry yeast. Please, I see my daughter, not her, my other one buying the yeast packets, and it's killing me because if you go to Sam's Club or you go like a big box store and they have the yeast in bulk, even if you go to the regular supermarket and they have the jar of yeast, it is infinitely cheaper than buying those packets. Please don't buy the packets. Buy a jar of yeast, keep it in the refrigerator. It will be good for a very long time. I've had this yeast, probably for years already. And it's still good. Still good.
Still kicking.
That's right. And then next ingredient. All right. Flour tastes like nothing. Nothing. It's wallpaper paste. It's paper mache. To make bread taste good, you have to add flavor. And the way we add flavor is by the next ingredients. Sea salt. See all the...
See all the salt?
See all the salt? See all the different colored specks in there? That's all flavor. Please don't buy the white Morton's highly processed salt. Don't do it. Go to like TJ Maxx or go to like Amazon, and they even have it at the regular supermarket now. Get the Himalayan sea salt. It's so much more flavor. It's delicious. So I'm going to put in 1.5 teaspoons because we got to add some flavor into this. Because remember, it's wallpaper paste without the flavor. We're also going to add in a good quality extra virgin olive oil. Please don't put in vegetable oil. Don't put in canola oil. get a good quality EVOO.
Evu.
And you want to put in
Your shot.
like 2 tablespoons. That dark color, it's flavor. Then the malt powder. This is going to help it rise. This is also going to give it some flavor. We're going to put in a teaspoon of the malt powder. And then the only other ingredient that's left is the water. So we're going to take, I'm going to do it in my KitchenAid. Spoiler alert, it's already in the bowl for that. I'm going to take it over to the mixer. Alright, so like I said, I don't measure anything. But I have about 600 milliliters of water in here, which is about 2 1/8 cup. So I'm going to put about half the water in here to start. Oops, sorry. So we're just going to give that a quick little, see where we're at. Dry. It's very dry. Add another 1/3 of a cup. You don't want to put this on full blast because you're going to be wearing it. Alright, still quite dry. Another 1/3 of a cup. This looks like it might be a winner. We're going to put our lock on over here because we don't want this going all over the place. Maybe just a tiny bit more. You want the dough to be sticky, but not ridiculously sticky. And you definitely don't want it to be tight and dry because then it's never going to rise and you're going to have a shingle for your pizza. You don't want a shingle. You want a fluffy, fluffy pizza. Alright, that looks pretty good. You can see it's starting to already develop the gluten. You can see the strings in there. We're going to let this go for a minute. We might have to add a little bit of flour to that if it's too wet, but I'll show you the final texture. Alright, so slightly wet. We're just going to add maybe 3 tablespoons of flour. And we're just going to, I never use the dough hooks anymore. I used to use the dough hooks, and then I was like, why am I bothering getting out the dough hooks? It's just going to be just as good with that. So don't worry about using a dough hook. I'm just going to incorporate that flour so there's no lumps in there. Alright, so still kind of wet. That's okay though. We're going to scrape it off of here. We're going to cover it with a dish towel and we're going to let it sit for an hour. And when we come back, you're going to see that it's doubled in size, at least. Alright, it's an hour later and here is our dough. It's all risen.
It is risen.
Exactly. So what I like to do is cut my parchment paper. This recipe makes 2 12 to 13 inch round pizza crusts. Puffy ones, not flat ones. Nice.
These are nice ones.
These are substantial. They're not quite a Sicilian crusts, but they're definitely not a thin crust either. So 2 pieces of parchment. I'm going to put a lot of flour on there because I can always take it away. You don't want it to stick to the parchment really because that's going to be kind of a pain in the butt since this is such a wet dough to begin with. So then I'm going to use my spatula and just remove it from the sides. It's going to deflate a little bit. You don't want to beat the crap out of this because you want to maintain some of your lift in there. So just kind of loosen it from the sides a little bit and then turn your bowl over onto the flour.
Flop it.
Yeah, and just let it plop out.
Whoop.
And it comes out pretty clean.
Yeah, it did.
Not bad. So then I highly recommend a bench scraper because you're going to have to cut this and, you know, it makes life a lot easier to have a scraper. So like I said, it's pretty wet, so you want to make sure that all of the sticky parts are covered with the flour. So I'm not really going to knead it. I'm just going to divide it into half visually. You don't have to be so exact. And then what I like to do for shaping is the part that you cut is still quite sticky. And you want to get this as round as possible. So the easiest way to do that is to put the sticky side down and just let it fall like that, and then you get a better circle like that. So then we're gonna transfer this one to this paper. Yeah. Here's where your bench scraper comes in handy. Stuck a little bit. This one's pretty circular already, so I think we can pretty much leave that.
That looks pretty good.
But the thing is, you want it to be a wet dough because it's going to rise so much easier when it's wet. When it's tight and dry, you're not going to get the lift. So then I just go with a circle and I start working from the inside out, pushing it around, and, you know, enlarging the circle. Then you can even stretch it a little bit like this. That's why the paper is convenient. You could just move the paper around.
Look at that technique.
Yes, you don't want to, oh, I forgot to wear black, so now nobody's going to know that I spent all afternoon on this. But you bring it out. This is a 13-inch, so you get it pretty close. You can even just scoot that under there and then use that as your guide to how big you need to make your pizza crust. But when it's wet like this, you don't want to toss it because you're going to get a hole in it because it's just not structurally sound enough. Yeah. So I'm going to do that with the other one as well. And here's another way that the bench scraper comes in handy too. There's way too much flour on here, so you can just right back in there. So let's check back in. I'm gonna shape these. I'm gonna let them sit for 15 to 30 minutes while I heat up my pizza oven. And this is my pizza oven. I'm gonna put it out.
Toaster.
It's a really good toaster. I'm gonna put it out on the deck so it doesn't heat up the house. But I use a pizza stone. I heat it up to 450 because that's as high as it goes. And you'll see, it's amazing. It takes about 12 minutes to get a pizza. All right, we're all fully loaded.
Whoa.
Here's the vegan one. It's got Paisana pasta sauce, Follow Your Heart smoked Gouda, and Gardein Italian sausage.
Beautiful.
They all have Gardein Italian sausage. This one is the other one that I made with just mozzarella and some provolone for the vegetarians in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a whole wheat crust that Mark bought. So you could see it's very similar, but like mine's puffier.
Yeah, it is.
But in whole wheat's defense, it does take twice as long to rise. So this one's going to go in the oven last because if you do decide to use whole wheat flour, I would add a little bit of extra water because it really sucks up the water and it needs twice the amount of time to rise because it's just heavier. So this one also has the same toppings as this, and they all have the Paisana pasta sauce.
Right.
So let's go take this one and plop it in the oven outside. I'll show you what it looks like.
We're on a field trip.
Yes, I used to slide these in just on the parchment paper, but I have problems with the sauce dripping off, and I don't want it to go all over the oven, so I just shove it in on the actual pizza pan because it's really not that thick. All right, there we go, Super Mario.
Looking good.
Or you Princess Peach?
I'm Princess Peach.
All right, well, this is the vegan one.
It looks so good.
We also have these other two over here. This one is the white, and this one's the whole wheat. So not too shabby,
But look at this beautifulness.
right? Just
Take it all in.
Whoa.
Ooh. This crust is award-winning.
Well, thank you. I developed it myself.
I know. All right, let's take a taste. Mmm. Yeah, it's nice and fluffy.
Yeah.
That is delicious.
I just wish I had like a pizza oven. Then the bottom would be like that New York crispy, but I got what
It's
I'm
good,
working with. I'm working with a toaster oven here. So I think this is pretty respectable results for a toaster oven.
I mean, I'm obsessed with it. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
It is quite good. I need to put this on a plate because it is actually dinner time.
Yes, we're having some sauteed broccoli with this, so we're going to eat now.
I feel like Hold on.
This is our real dinner.
It is.
So,
So we're going to go and we're going to eat. Thank you so much for watching this. Let us know if you give the crust a try.
And the whole pizza.
Yep. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And
smash the like button.
yeah, thanks for watching. So until next time, much
Much
love.
love.